You want to explain this? These are opiates. Where did you get these from?
I learned it from watching you, Dad.
Parents who use drugs have kids who use drugs.
That's not necessarily true, but Dad, it is your responsibility to educate your kids about drugs.
It's not that easy to talk to your kids about drugs.
But it's even harder talking to your parents about drugs.
Especially if you think they have a problem.
Eureka parents and teens, it's time to get real about talking with each other about drugs. I worry about it because I have a 7-year-old. And I've been through all of these things, and then I worry about pushing them too hard. The other way, or like, do I just remain neutral, and then when the topic comes up, like, be as honest as I can?
Yeah.
But then in my heart, I'm like terrified about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, he's got the genes that I do.
Sitting around at the dinner table when I had my 25-year chip and talking about that, it was this real significant moment in my life, and so I'm like sharing, and like my kids are all of a sudden like, what? You had an amphetamine-induced psychosis? Like, what? What the hell is that? You know?
Right.
To walk out of that and then go home and see my kids like that, it's an affirmation that I'm doing the right thing.
Like in my experience, like none of my parents do any drugs. Yeah, like I've personally done some, so it's not always about the parents.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
And that's what I worry about, because I'm not going to be able to keep someone from trying it. Like, I grew up with both, both. My mother and my father were both serious alcoholics. But my mom's side of the family was more sedate and calm. So during family gatherings or whatever, it'd be like, oh man, like it's just more mellow. On my dad's side, Irish, full on, woo, And so when I was a kid, it was like, that's awesome. I want to be like that. They have fun. And my old man bought me a case of beer for my 8th grade graduation. And then I dropped out in 9th grade.
I had 2 different types of parents. And my family was, broken family and what have you. My mom was completely, didn't do anything whatsoever. In fact, barely even had alcohol. My dad, on the other hand, smoked pot and was into other stuff too. And I remember going to his house, and it was like totally different rules when I went to my dad's house. That can be really hard because you're kind of caught right in between both the parents oftentimes, and both parents are asking questions, or one is usually asking questions about the other. How does that play out in your guys' world? Does anybody care to talk about that?
There's consequences to both of them, and so kind of finding like a good in between is a lot of pressure on a kid.
Yeah.
But I don't know, especially if you add like drug use on top of that, then it's like you have something to figure out, and it's kind of hard to go between parents because one parent may not care as much and one parent might care way too much.
Right.
And so yeah, it's a little difficult.
Yeah. How to get the parents both on the same page if possible.
I never got into alcohol or drugs or anything like that because I watched my brother go to prison for a pretty long time. He was really important to me, so I just always stayed out of it.
Yeah.
My whole family did drugs, so I know about that.
Yeah, my mom, she did drugs, and and drank at the same time, After a while, she got her license, took it away. She went to jail, and every one of her kids, she had 7 of them. Every one of them she couldn't take care of. They went to their other family. Just messes people up. So I don't want to do that.
Yeah. So you've had some good examples of people that did that.
Exactly, you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There are a lot of reasons why people do drugs, and acting like those reasons aren't there is doing kids a disservice. It's not the whole picture. What people get concerned with, like in my business, I run a substance abuse treatment center, is the warnings need to be heeded, is that it's a trap eventually. Some people can drink, some people can do drugs, and it's never a problem. But you don't really know who those people are. I'm sure you know people, they drink, they're all right, they have a beer after work, but people like us are not geared that way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't geared that way. When you do something that makes you feel really good, well, I want to feel really good all the time, constantly. That's how I was.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, that makes me feel amazing. Boom, 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 boom. And then 5 years down the road, well, I'm not feeling amazing anymore. I'm not feeling good at all. I'm just doing this so I can get well, so I can try to function. And then pretty soon, you don't have the ability to function anymore. You can't hold a job. You know, and ultimately, a lot of times it'll lead to homelessness and things like that. Not all the time. That's a stark warning, but it's accurate. It was accurate with me. We know we're not going to be able to tell everybody not to do drugs. People will. But you need to know what that comes with when you do it. You need to know what the hazards are. You get sick.
Yeah, you feel empty.
Well, no, it's physical illness. It's like the flu, but there's a mental component and like a drive to get more drugs, because you know, and ultimately when you're really deep in it, then you feel that every morning, every time you wake up, you have to get more, and it consumes your life. And you can't really explain it until you are in the midst of it. But opiate addiction is one of the most brutal. It's less dangerous than an alcohol addiction, because alcohol, you will feel physically ill, you'll get the shakes, but you also run the risk of having seizures and dying during the withdrawal process. Opiates, it's just you wish you were dead. It's brutal.